What is going on, everyone? The Sweet 16 is now set for the NCAA tournament. Best 4 days in sports. It's finally over. It's not a great thing. I'm not saying it's finally over like it's a great thing. I'm just saying it is over. The amount of hours I sat on the couch with the boys, watched a bunch of games, screamed, had some beers. It was a great time. Now, I'm not a big betting man. I enjoy sports, the beauty of sports. I love just the rivalries. I don't like to get emotionally tied due to finances. But this is a big-time market for betting. It's a big-time event. It's a great 4 days. Why not have some fun? Keep in mind, I'm a broke college kid, so I'm throwing 20 to 50 bucks on all kinds of different bets, over-unders, first half, the spread for the whole game, all kinds of stuff. I'm keeping everything logged on my bookie open bets. What I ended up doing after a whopping 4 days is $5.83. Okay, that's the most crazy $5.83 I've ever made. The most emotional up and down $5.83 I've ever made in my life. I'm going to have to make sure I spend that on something real worthy. Realistically, I'm going to tie it back into more bets that I make during the Sweet 16, of course, but whew, I'll tell you what, I think that's harder than making thousands and hundreds of dollars during bets. How do you come up with $5.83 as your positive? It's ridiculous. Now, it's also ridiculous how much Vegas knows, okay? It's crazy, but let's not go into the betting world. Let's just talk about this day and the Sweet 16 that we have lined up, because I am truly pumped and amped up for this thing. So in regards to today, the biggest game obviously was that Duke-UCF game and how it came down to the wire, and Duke escaped 77-76, and in a crazy fashion. I mean, you have UCF up late 74-70 when they got lucky because there was a shot clock violation. The ball did not hit the rim. They reviewed it and said there wasn't enough evidence. Taco ends up putting back a rebound, if you will, even though it didn't even hit the rim. So it's 74-70 with UCF's opportunity to make it 76-70 on an alley-oop fast break that they mess up. So instead of 76-70, Duke goes down, hits a three bomb. It's 74-73. Now, late in this game, the Duke Blue Devils are down 3. It was 76-73 at this time. Zion Williamson takes it hard, takes it real hard, right to Taco, who blocked multiple of his shots throughout the game, who had the statement before the game saying he's not going to let Zion posterize him. And Zion gets the foul and one, which actually knocks Taco out of the game. He fouls out at the free throw line, down 1. Zion misses the free throw. RJ Barrett puts in the rebound. They're up 77-76. Zion ends up with 32 points and 11 boards. Down the other end, UCF with a great look at the basket for the first one. It rolls around the rim. Dawkins tries and puts back the putback, and that was even closer, and it twirls around the rim again and falls out as Dawkins gets 32 points in the game. And UCF, who I thought played phenomenal, who played so well, who really gave Duke a lot. And realistically, when I take a look at the game, I thought UCF should have won, but Duke escapes. Now, it's better for the tournament coming down the stretch because, let's be real, no one attracts fans like Zion Williamson does. We all love college basketball. We'll watch anyway. That's without a doubt. We're all going to watch anyway. But Zion Williamson on the TV, it just makes it a little bit sweeter, just realizing how talented and athletic he is. Now, I do have to give credit to UCF. They played a great game, and Duke squeaked out of there with a victory. They shouldn't have. I think they walked out of there, and they got lucky. The basketball gods gave them a little bit of luck. UCF played an A-plus game. You see all the players crying on the court, and I say to myself, as a coach, I wonder what the coach said in the locker room. You know, sometimes you do everything just pretty much almost perfectly, and you put together a great game plan and you execute and you play 180% and you fall, and we're just experiencing that fall. I mean, how much can you really say in that locker room other than you guys did everything I asked you to do and we just came up short because of an unlucky roll around the rim that probably gets knocked down 9 times out of 10. It's just crazy, but Duke does advance. And there was a crazier game even right before that. The first game today was at 12-10. It was Tennessee versus Iowa. Tennessee was up 25 points, and Iowa ends up coming back and making a late push. They blew a 25-point lead. Tennessee ends up winning in overtime, which was crazy. I mean, down the stretch, the refs were insanely brutal. You're talking about Tennessee blocking a 3-point shot at the perimeter, there clean as day with a fast break opportunity to go up 5 at that point, and instead the ref caught a foul, and then they drained their 3 free throws. Now, I mean, I can say and make excuses for, bad refereeing in every case and on both sides in reality, but just some stick out more than others, in my opinion. People are even upset with some of the calls down the stretch in that Duke UCF game because when Zion went hard to the rim against Taco at one point, he had a little bit of a push-off, but I thought it was a play-on moment that late in a game. You don't want the ref calling the whistle there. You just don't. In regards to those 2 games, they were the craziest today. Other games that went on, I thought Liberty hung around with Virginia Tech more than anybody really would have expected them to, but Virginia Tech and Buzz get the job done. UNC crushed Washington. Texas Tech crushed Buffalo. Buffalo had an extremely hard time against that team, and I'm shocked because that is a good Buffalo squad. Oregon over UC Irvine. The only weird part in that game was I think there was maybe a legitimate 12-minute stretch where Oregon couldn't get one bucket. It was a crazy stretch throughout the second half where they couldn't get any buckets whatsoever. Ohio State hung in there more than I would have expected them to against Houston, to be honest. And Houston ended up getting the job done. I don't even think Ohio State should have been in the tournament. So for them to really play that hard and go into the second round that late into it, good for them. And Virginia beat Oklahoma pretty good there. So in regards to what we have lined up for this Sweet 16, wow. I mean, take a look at this. Listen to these numbers that I'm throwing at you when it comes to the ranking. The only one in double digits is 12 Oregon. Everyone else is 1 through 4, and then there's 1 5. So there's a 5 Auburn, a 12 Oregon, and everyone else is 1, 2, 3, or 4. That is the beauty of this thing. That's why coming down to the Sweet 16, this is going to be dynamite. Dynamite. Thursday games. Florida State versus Gonzaga, 4-1. Purdue versus Tennessee, 3-2. Texas Tech versus Michigan, 3-2. And Oregon versus Virginia, which is 12-1. But if there's a 1 that is, maybe a little fragile, it might be Virginia. Friday, you have 3 LSU versus Michigan State, which is a 2 seed. 5 Auburn versus 1 UNC. Virginia Tech, which is a 4, versus Duke number 1, which we've seen that already. I'm just saying, and I might have that in my bracket too. We've seen that Virginia Tech team give Duke some problems. And 3 Houston versus 2 Kentucky. This is the beauty of it. I couldn't tell you the last time a bracket went down to this extent where you really don't see upsets and it seems more, strict to the numbers, which it makes it more entertainment down the stretch. That's just reality. When you take a look at what's going to happen here later in the tournament, don't you want to see this? Don't you want to see 2 versus 3 in almost every single... not conference. What am I saying? Bracket? Division? I'm drawing a blank on what I'm talking about. Region. Region is the word I'm looking for. Don't you want to see that? Like I said, I'm all great for the Cinderellas. I like when teams make it to the Elite 8, that one underdog squad you never thought of, and hey, maybe it could be Oregon. They're a 12 seed. Maybe they can make that Elite 8 run. But I'm thinking more that's a Power 5 squad. I'm thinking more of, the UC Irvine won today and they made a run to the Elite 8, stuff like that. I'm all for that. I'm not a huge fan of when that team crushes a 1 seed, not a 1 seed, that doesn't happen, but, say a 3 seed loses in the first round by a team, and that team gets crushed in the second round. I don't love that. That's not very entertaining. It just ruins the tournament down the stretch. For the moment, it's awesome. For the 2 minutes that I'm watching and I'm seeing the excitement of the kids, it's all great. And then they get waxed in round 2, and then that ruined that 3 seed that could have actually made a nice run at this thing with very good talent. But that's the beauty of this tournament. I'm not trying to rip it apart here. I love March Madness. We all know it's the greatest thing in my life. I really do love it. So I'm curious on your thoughts with this Duke game. Zion, how did he play? He had a big quote on Coach K after the game, and he said, listen, he told him, this is my moment. This is the moment for me, and I got to take advantage of it. And you got to think, everyone talks about it. This kid has athletic abilities that are just unthinkable, but he's still still a young kid. He's still raw, emotional, and invested in this game. He's very young. And Coach K pretty much gave him the hype up there during that. It wasn't a timeout. It was during the official overview when the official review when the ball didn't touch the rim. So, I mean, he put encouraging words into Zion that made him attack Taco after getting blocked by him all night. Crazy. That game was wild. It was just wild. UCF played a hell of a ball game. I need to know your thoughts on that. I want to know, do you think Cinderellas are great, or are you with me that you'd rather see the 2-3s, the 1-4s? You'd rather see these seeds that are at the top of the NCAA when it comes to hoops, because that's what makes it more talented and better matchups when you're talking later in the tournament as a whole. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.